when you think about the greats, if I said Michael Jordan, you think Phil Jackson.
Not even a question. Same with Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson, Tim Duncan.
You don't think of Dale Harris?
No, I do not.
Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich.
Yes.
Right? There's the various coaches.
Olajuwon.
Rudy Tomjanovich. Right. There's so many different stars that you think of immediately, the head coach. Isaiah Thomas, Chuck Daly.
See, Isaiah Chuck, I do. But Rudy T, the dream, I don't.
How not?
Because
they won 2 titles together.
I know, but it's almost like the dream.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
But it was almost like the dream them was going to be that way regardless.
No.
That's the way I felt.
No.
That's the way I feel.
Rudy was significant in forcing Hakeem to actually pass the ball more and be more of a facilitator. Like he was, I remember.
And then maybe
digging so deep into that.
But then again, maybe because we don't talk about, whenever we mention Houston, we always mention the Dream and Drexler, and we never mention the coach in Houston. Very seldom do you hear people talk about Rudy T. When you talk about Detroit, you always talk about Detroit,
bad boys,
but
Chuck
you also
Daly.
Chuck Daly.
All right,
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
It may be because Chuck Daly was a bigger coach in the coaching world to many than Rudy T.
Fair,
right? I mean, that's maybe that's why I think that way.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that. But if I say to you, Steph Curry, do you think Steve Kerr?
I think Mark Jackson.
I think Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. I think Mark Jackson initiated all that, and then Steve Kerr took it, fine-tuned it, and then led it to championship success.
Well, in this story, Howard talks about how Kerr and Curry have forged that relationship, that bond, and they have obviously won their championships together, and they stay together. But what he points out, though, is in this new player empowerment era, someone like LeBron James, who's won 4 championships in the last decade, 3 different franchises, 3 different head coaches, Eric Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue, and Frank Vogel. Kawhi Leonard won his first title with Popovich, but then with Nick Nurse in Toronto. So you're seeing the point, right? Like the players, Kevin Durant, now he'll try to win a championship with another coach in Steve Nash, who's never been a coach before. So it's the idea that the question is this. Coaching, yes, still matters, but coaches seems like an afterthought. He said perhaps even a little bit diminished. The partnerships of the past were built on trust and communication, forged over years. It's how winning cultures take root. So what happens when that bond disappears? Does the culture go with it? Do dynasties disappears? Have today's stars lost something essential? Do we feel like that is something in the NBA that is going away or no? Jay?
Jay, you go ahead.
There is an incredible value for coaches. There's no doubt about it. I mean, guys like Eric Spoelstra, Greg Popovich, Rick Carlisle. Even look what Monty Williams is able to do with Phoenix, Quinn Snyder in Utah.
On Monty Williams, even though he's a coach of the year candidate, so many people say Chris Paul showing up is what made him a better coach.
So here's what I've known players to do in today's age, right? When they're thinking about what team they want to go to. It goes, here are the 3 questions they ask. Where do I want to play? What city do I want to play? Right? Like, why? Do I want to go back home to L.A.? Okay, I'll go back home to L.A. Okay, great. Second question, who do I want to play with? Do I want to get PG? Do I want to get this player? Now, those 2 can be flip-flop, too. Who do I want to play with?
Now
Where
we're
do I
going
want to play?
location, teammates.
Yep, and that can be flip-flop depending upon who you are. And then the question is, who do I want to be coached by? Like, that's the way it happens.
Is that third because you feel like I can always change that?
Yes, 1,000%. Like LeBron James going to Cleveland could change. David Blatt's not it. He's not it, guys.
Yeah.
It's time for somebody else. Give me Ty Lue. Okay. Like, hey, like this guy's not it. Let's bring it. Like, even Steph Curry in the article was talking about it. He wasn't keen on Steve Kerr at first. Mark Jackson was his guy. So like those, but he went with it. So players now these days are making exponentially more money than the players back in the day. I'm not saying they weren't making a lot, but it doesn't seem like coaches have the bigger-than-life personalities. I agree with the article wholeheartedly.
Well, I think,
with the exception of a few.
I think, though, all that what Jay is saying is true, but the star power doesn't stay in one location. If the star power stayed in one location,
the coach would stay with him.
Yeah, and the coach would be attached to him like Curry is to Curry.
Not true.
Curry isn't going anywhere.
That's not true.
Why not?
Look Kawhi Leonard and look at Doc Rivers.
What you mean?
Kawhi Leonard's still in LA. Doc Rivers is gone. Bye.
But if Kawhi got there when everything was running out for Doc. Had Kawhi been there from the beginning, meaning like when Doc first came aboard, they probably would have won a championship or two by now.
I think the key on Kawhi, though, is he left San Antonio because he was done with Pop. And Pop is a guy that was known as the guy, again, he and Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, like that, where they looked at him in a different way than Kawhi did. Kawhi didn't want to be coached by him anymore.
Well, because they had whatever the personal issues are. And then you had Ginobili saying what he said, and Parker saying what he said about him, and David Robinson said, and Kawhi like, man, I don't want to be dealing. They rock with you. I don't rock with you like that.
Then the injury too.
Yeah,
and the injury. Opinion,
my whole point is you mentioned coach and player forge forever. The star players keep moving around. Nobody is sitting. Like who has sat with a team for 10 years and won a couple championships outside of Curry? Everybody else is moving.
You're right.
Everybody else is
moving.
The biggest stars.
Dame hasn't moved, but you don't think about Terry Stotts.
But he ain't won no championship.
No, you don't think Terry Stotts.
You don't think Terry Stotts at all.
Yeah, and he's a good coach, Terry Stotts.
Decent coach.
But that's the problem, though, Jay, is he's got to win some championships. If he won some championships, we'd be sitting there going, Dame and Terry Stotts.
Yeah.
Because before, players didn't recruit players. GMs and owners had to recruit players. Now players recruit players. So when players are saying, hey, Kyrie, hey, James Harden, let's do this together, they feel empowered to say, who do we want our coach to be?
Yeah, but
if we're going to this situation, before, Jerry Krause would have to build the team, or you have to recruit those players. Here, I'm recruiting you to this system, to this coach.
In Brooklyn,
Now
it was the
different.
opposite, Jay. It was the opposite. Kenny Atkinson had to prove himself to Kyrie.
Yes.
It wasn't the other way around. It was, I got to sell myself this year to Kyrie so I could be here long term. And at the end of that year, Kyrie's like, that's not the guy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.